You can definitely blame the alcohol for my outfit. I look like a preppy pirate. I used to be the guy that would black out, do something stupid, and then apologize to my friends the next day, meanwhile feeling like I wasn't really responsible for it just because I couldn't remember it, and also because that guy wasn't me. That guy was a dick. That guy cheated on his girlfriend. Just gonna wipe my hands clean of that because I was drunk. But was that cheating asshole the real me? Is alcohol this liquid truth serum that just brings your true motives and your true intentions to the surface? Many people would say yes. They say that alcohol shows you who you really are underneath your daily facade. And they claim that if you would do something while drunk, then you would also do it while sober. The only reason that you wouldn't behave that way while sober is because you needed the alcohol as the scapegoat. You needed the alcohol to blame your actions on. And without the alcohol there to say, it was the alcohol's fault and not mine, then you just wouldn't do it because then you'd be held accountable. Well, is there any accuracy to these claims? Are you still you while you're intoxicated? Or do you really have some type of excuse to blame your actions on? Surprisingly, it's not so simple. It's not so black and white. In fact, both of these assumptions are equally as accurate. You most definitely still are you while you're intoxicated, but you're just as much you as when you're really stoned, as when you're very high on acid, or when you're rolling balls with Molly. However, your behavior and actions are not necessarily indications of your true motives or your true nature. They are indications of how the substance you are on is altering your psyche, and in turn causing you to behave in a chemically altered way. When you are drunk, your brain, on a physical level, is chemically altered. It is fully possible for people to behave irrationally and unlike themselves while on drugs. I mean, obviously, like say someone's shooting up heroin. You don't say that they needed that heroin to pull their true self out of them, that they only act like themselves when they're high on heroin. No, you say that person has a heroin addiction. But why are we so quick to say that alcohol brings people's true selves out of them? A lot of the misconception comes around people forgetting that alcohol is indeed a drug, which some people have a bit of trouble accepting. I'm not going to fully get into it here, but if you Google the definition of a drug, it would say it is a psychoactive substance. It's a substance that causes a chemical reaction in your brain, causing you to behave in a slightly altered way, which is exactly what alcohol is. It's a mind-altering substance. The fact that it's socially acceptable does not make it any less of a drug than, say, cocaine. The whole issue is people separate drugs. They have in one category illegal drugs, and in the other category, legal drugs. But they classify all illegal drugs as for some reason a lot more harmful than their legal counterparts, when in reality, alcohol and cigarettes and prescription drugs kill the most people out of any substance, albeit because they are more readily available. But even percentage-wise, if you were to look at a drug chart per se, you would see that many illegal substances such as psychedelics, LSD and mushrooms, are at the very bottom of the scale. So on a chemical level, why does alcohol make people behave in regrettable ways? Now, I'm no neurochemist, but I do know that alcohol acts as an indirect GABA agonist in the brain. GABA is the brain's major inhibitory neurotransmitter. What alcohol does is it binds to the GABA receptors and it inhibits their signaling. Translation, less inhibitions in regards to your thoughts and actions. Alcohol also inhibits the major excitatory neurotransmitter, glutamate, and it releases other neurotransmitters such as serotonin and dopamine. Basically what it does is fires up the entire reward system within the brain. And this is exactly why we tend to do really stupid things when we're drunk, like send regrettable text messages or have sex with people that we normally would just never have sex with. It's not that because we have less inhibitions that the alcohol is showing us who we really are, because who we really are is who we are in our natural state. It's who we are when we are inhibited. It's who we are when we don't need a substance to induce a chemical reaction changing our neurochemistry. Who we are is a little too deep for this video, but as a persona, what it means is it's a collection of our memories, it's a collection of chemical reactions, and it's a collection of brain functions. So we must accept that how we behave in the sober state, the state that we, popped out of our mother's vaginas in, is who we actually are, because it's the state that doesn't require anything to induce. Now, since being drunk really is putting us into an altered state, meaning we're more likely to behave in an altered way, can we in turn blame our actions on the alcohol? No. Simply put, you cannot. I am most definitely not saying that you can now blame the alcohol for the stupid, regrettable shit that you might do while intoxicated. Oh no, quite the opposite. I'm actually saying that you now need to be more responsible in the sense that you are now aware that alcohol causes a drug-induced chemical reaction within your mind that may cause you to behave in questionable ways. Since you are aware of this, then the answer is simple. If you don't want to put yourself at risk of doing something you're going to regret, then just don't drink. Even though it may not be the real you whose behavior is coming out well intoxicated, it is a chemically altered version of you, and it really is arguable whether that's your real self. Like I said earlier, it's not someone's true self when you're rolling on Molly. You're very loved up, you're hugging everybody, and people don't say, hey, look, that guy's hugging everybody. That's who he really is. He really just loves the whole world. He has no fears, no worries, and he's just grateful to be alive. Wow, I really make it sound like people should just be the Molly self all the time. Fuck the alcohol self. The lines really do start to get blurry here, because you have cases of, say, rape, where someone blames the alcohol for their rape. I mean, was that person really the type who would rape a girl underneath the alcohol? I'm going to go for a stretch here and say yes. I'm going to say that in those situations, sure, you're more likely to act on impulse, but if you didn't have, say, the impulse to, I don't know, rape someone when you were sober, then the impulse to do it when you're drunk probably isn't going to be there. I mean, I can only speak for myself, and I've never in my life had an impulse to inflict harm on anyone when drunk. I'm not even the kind of person who wants to get in fights with other people while drunk. I'm more the self-harm inflicting type. I'll punch a wall before I punch a person. Yes, on like a chemical sense, you're not you. But underneath that, you still are the same person. You still have the same core beliefs, and it's not like you just transcend into some maniac. Like, even if you are a maniac, it's a maniac version of you. We are all a collection of many different character traits in one, and what alcohol tends to do is it causes us to lean towards sometimes some of the uglier personality traits that we might have, and we can just completely ignore some of our better redeeming traits. But by no means is that who you really are. By no means am I an arrogant asshole just because I behave that way while drunk. Regardless, if you decide to drink or take any drug for that matter, you are responsible for your actions while under the influence of said drug. So if you're not ready to be fully accountable for everything that happens, no matter what it may be, then simply put, stay sober and don't take drugs. You are not the kind of person who should be taking substances. And don't get it twisted, alcohol is a drug. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, and don't let the way that it's socially acceptable cloud the fact that it's just as much a mind-altering substance as cocaine, heroin, alcohol, LSD. These are all mind-altering substances. And I don't want you to say that alcohol is so much more easier to handle than, say, LSD, because you can get drunk to the point of being in a very delirious state. I've been in completely delirious states where I was talking gibberish and running around naked. I've had some terrifying alcohol experiences, and anyone who says that alcohol isn't really a powerful drug hasn't been as fucked up as I've been, because that shit can get intense. If we could really get away with blaming alcohol for what we do while we're drunk, we'd be living in a society full of rapists and murderers. Now that I think about it, though, we kind of already are. This society is very sick, and it's in need of some medicine that's a lot more healthy and beneficial for it than alcohol. And you know what? I think I know just the medicine that this world needs. Anyway, thank you for watching my video, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know that I usually talk about psychedelics, but I felt like this was a topic that needed to be discussed. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel for weekly psychedelic-related content. A major thank you to everyone who's supporting us on Patreon right now. I know I say this at the end of every video, but you guys are really making these videos happen, and I love and appreciate every single one of you. If you guys want to check out what Patreon is, visit patreon.com for more information. Till next time, be safe everyone, always test your substances, and yeah, take care guys.